Hi, I'm Bill Bradley. Join me for a recent excerpt of American Voices. My guest today is a poet and songwriter, but for many years, doctors didn't believe she'd be able to communicate. Elizabeth Bonker is affected by autism and cannot speak. She now communicates by typing into a computer. She's written poems and lyrics to songs, and her music is available now on iTunes. Elizabeth, thank you very much for being here. And Elizabeth's mother is here too, Jenny Breen. Welcome to American Voices, Jenny.
Thank you.
Elizabeth, I can't wait to hear about your songwriting and music, but Jenny, can you first explain to us what you faced as a parent, what the doctors told you, how eventually you found your way for Elizabeth to communicate?
Thank you, Senator Bradley. I'm so happy to be here with Elizabeth. So my daughter, who is now 24, she was born perfectly healthy, but then lost all of her words at 15 months and was diagnosed with autism. And so we went on a journey, a long journey, and she thankfully learned to type to be able to communicate, because thank God my mother saw a woman on 60 Minutes who was teaching her own non-speaking autistic son to communicate by pointing to letters on a letterboard. And so it's been a long journey, but we are so thankful that Elizabeth has this capability to communicate by typing.
Elizabeth, as you hear your mother tell the story of how you eventually got to the point where you were able to communicate, to write, to express, what do you remember about that time?
It is hard to imagine what it feels like to be locked in your own body. Think of a stroke victim. Just like them, I would blink my eyes slowly and carefully to tell my mother I was in here, trapped and afraid I would never be able to express myself, to connect with other people in a meaningful way.
So the voice we hear is from the computer, is that correct?
That is correct. We run all of her typed answers through a text-to-speech program that allows it to be her voice.
You have a name for the voice?
It's called Aria because that's what Microsoft calls it. But, it really is the one that she selected that she thought sounds like her. And so we try to keep it consistent because that's what she says that she wants to be her voice.
So, Elizabeth, you like Aria as a name.
I am just happy to have a voice. And I have a voice because I was taught to type. All non-speakers can learn to type. I am not special. My parents think I am special, but I am not special in my ability to learn to type to communicate. It is slow and tedious to type with one finger, but it is worth it. Life without communication is not a life.
I am so thrilled that Elizabeth learned to type when she was 6 years old. It changed her life and it changed our family's life. She went from a child who was incredibly frustrated in special ed to one who was mainstreamed in first grade. She could show us her beautiful mind and all that she had been learning, absorbing, picking up from everything she heard. And in fact, she's very bright. And we have had so many stories of non-speakers who learn to spell at whatever age, in their 20s. And they are showing us that they have been learning their entire lives because they are not cognitively impaired. They have a motor problem. They can't make their bodies do what they want. There is a bit of a disconnect. Just as they can't move their mouths to speak, they can't move their bodies in other ways like we do. And that has been such a frustration for Elizabeth and for those who then learn to type like she does. So we are thrilled that she formed Communication for All to bring this method of typing with one finger to the world and to help all non-speakers with autism learn how to do this. It has changed our lives, and we just want to bring that joy to every other family who has a non-speaker with autism.
Learning to type has changed my life in every way. I went from special education where the program was so simplistic, I was asked to touch my nose repeatedly, to a mainstream classroom where I tested into the gifted program. I went from hopeless to hopeful. One of the first questions my typing teacher asked me, after I was able to navigate all 26 letters, was to spell a word that starts with the letter A. I was 6 years old, so she was expecting me to spell apple. I typed agony, agony. She looked at me and asked, "Do you know what agony means?" And I typed, "Quite so." "What is your agony?" I responded, "I need to talk." I hope the world starts to understand the agony felt by millions of non-speakers who still have no way to communicate their basic needs, let alone their hopes and dreams. Every non-speaker with autism can learn this typing method, and soon we will be giving families free tools to do so on our website communicationforall.org.
So, Elizabeth, what was it like for you to collaborate with musicians on your songs?
The Bleeding Hearts are a wonderful group of musicians and dear friends. Lead vocalist Lori Ellington was my mother's roommate in college, and guitarist Sean Coleman has been her best friend since high school. We had Zoom meetings most Sunday nights during the pandemic to create the music around my lyrics. I love how the songs are diverse, just like neurodiversity. They range from gospel to pop to Gaelic to rock. Something for everyone.
So, Jenny, what was it like for you to finally see your daughter not only communicate, but write songs?
It's just a marvelous, wonderful thing. You know, even though Elizabeth has written a book and been on various television shows advocating for non-speaking people, that they're in there, I think we all know that music just hits people in a different way. And for her to be able to communicate the feelings that she has and the desire to tell everyone that all of these people are in there, it just is a beautiful way to do it within a song.
So, Elizabeth, let's talk about your music. In your song, I Am Here, you say, "What they didn't know was the truth about me. The way they look through me just makes me want to scream. Millions like me who would be shining brightly."
When I was a kid, this is what the doctors did. They told my mom, "There's no hope for this one," but they didn't know. No, they didn't know. When I went to school, teachers did the same thing too. I'm not lying. They said this one ain't even trying, but they didn't know what they didn't know. What they didn't know was the truth about me. Sometimes I fear they don't understand that I hear and I know. The way they look through me, it just makes me want to scream. I am in here. I am in here. This is my voice. This is my life. This is my choice. This is my right. I am in here.
So, Elizabeth, when did you decide to make it your mission to help others so that they too can express themselves?
I'm only 24 years old, but I've been on this mission for more than a decade. In 2011, 70 of my poems were published in I Am in Here. My mother wrote stories around the poems about our journey. We wanted to give autism families both hope and information about how we were navigating the educational and medical systems. When I went to Rollins College, I majored in social innovation so I could learn how to be a more effective advocate. Starting the nonprofit Communication for All was part of my senior honors thesis.
Now that I'm grown, I realize I'm not alone. Millions like me who should be shining brightly, but they don't know how they can show how much they know and the truth they can't see. You don't believe that
have a song called Silent Cage. In it, you sing, "The world thinks I got nothing to say. They want me to stay that way."
Welcome to my silent cage. Can you feel my simmering rage? The world thinks I got nothing to say. They want me to stay that way. They say I'm out of control, but they don't see my soul. The world is overwhelming me. Can't you please set me free? Set me free.
So how do we as society combat that mentality?
That is the mission of our nonprofit Communication for All. To change the way the world sees non-speaking autism and gain communication for the 31 million who are suffering in silence. And it starts with our schools. It's the law, but it is not being enforced. Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act states individuals with communication disorders should be given effective communication of their choice. But it isn't happening because educators confuse our inability to control our bodies, including unreliable speech, with intellectual disability. We are not cognitively disabled. Every non-speaker with autism can be taught to type with one finger as I do.
Little flower, flower in the grass. Some say you shouldn't be here. Some say you're just a weed. But when I see you growing, when I see you reaching toward the sun, when I see your beauty, I see the face of God. Little sparrow, sparrow in the air, do you see the flower below you? Did you drop the seed down there? When I see you flying, when I see you climbing toward the sun, when I see the life you planted, I feel the arms of God.
Well, tell us about the organization, Community for All. What does it do to help people get the access they need?
Actually, technology is only a small part of gaining communication for non-speakers. Our teaching method starts off with large stencils so the typers can learn how to point to a large letter before getting them to hit smaller targets like keys on a keyboard. I type on an iPad, but that takes a lot of practice. Technology is important for disseminating this information, and we are thrilled that the head of adaptive technology at Google reached out to ask how they could help. We have high hopes to truly make the mission of communication for all come true with partners like Google.
Hey, principal, do you remember me? Hey, principal, do you remember me? I was the different kid, the one you couldn't see. Hey, principal, you used to call me dumb.
when it comes to trying to get access for all non-speakers, there are many challenges. What gives you the most hope?
I have hope because spellers and typers are the most perseverant people I know. We have so many stories of non-speakers who learned to type in their 20s who are now finishing up high school and want to go to college. One issue they face is getting their GED or high school equivalency diploma. After decades of being stuck in special education with academics way below their abilities, they now face a lack of accommodations to take the GED exam. After hearing about a group of 5 typers in Atlanta who had been denied their accommodations for 3 years, I went to Capitol Hill to advocate for them. Long story short, I'm so grateful for my senator and representative who supported my advocacy work, and we got Pearson Corporation, who administers the GED, to promise to do the right thing. So, yes, I have hope because once non-speakers have communication, they will not rest until all are rescued from suffering in silence.
As Elizabeth says, there is help. This is a method that needs to be taught in a very specific way. So thank you for that question. So you can visit our website, communication4all.org, to look at our resources, as well as the i-asc.org. They have practitioners, teachers who can help all non-speakers learn how to type. But it's not just about buying an iPad and thinking it will happen. It really has to start with the stencils and then move on gradually after many hours of practice.
Great. Just like all of us, she wants her voice heard. It's a fundamental need to be able to communicate. So, Elizabeth, in another song called Things I Know, you say, "There is a God, I am loved, the sun will rise, I will survive, and I know there is a God who knows what I'm going through."
When I am in darkness, feeling alone and blue, nature speaks to me, and I feel the warmth of the sun shining through. There is a God, I am loved, the sun will rise, I will survive. There is a God, I am loved, the sun will rise, I will survive. When I am in darkness, feeling alone and blue, dear ones come to me, and I know I'm loved, and they know what I need to get through.
Elizabeth, for people who don't yet communicate by typing, what advice do you have for them about surviving and holding on?
I hope people who listen to my songs hear both the pain of being voiceless as well as the faith that help is on the way. God sees our suffering, and He sends us love to make it through each day. Most people are shocked to find non-speaking people to be so spiritual and forgiving of those who underestimated them for so long. It doesn't surprise me. During our silence, we are in communion with a higher power who loves us.
When I am in darkness, feeling alone and blue, the Spirit comes to me, and I know there is a God who knows what I'm going through. There is a God.
Jenny, what's been the proudest moment for you in all this?
Oh gosh, there have been many. I think that the embrace that Elizabeth felt around the world for what she said in her Rollins College commencement address with over 4 billion impressions.
Now I would like to introduce our keynote speaker, Elizabeth Bonker. Elizabeth has been an advocate for non-speakers with autism for more than a decade. Her book and album, I Am In Here, seek to change the world the way the world sees non-speaking autism. Elizabeth has been a speaker at many conferences, including Ashaka Changemakers and Autism Society's Town Hall. In May 2022, many of you may have seen this, but Elizabeth graduated from Rollins College as a valedictorian and continues to devote herself to her mission of communication for all.
Congratulations to the awesome Invictus Academy class of 2022. Greetings to the fabulous families who supported you and to the superb staff who believed in you. We are here today to celebrate your great achievement of graduation. You are pioneers leading the way, showing the world what spellers and typers are capable of. You have learned and worked hard showing what you know with a single finger. I am honored that you asked me to speak with you on this special day. Some of you are friends and some of you may not know me. Maybe you saw my commencement address from Rollins College. I am so thankful for Rollins College and wish for each and every one of you the same supportive environment as you further your studies. I believe the blessing of that speech going viral with more than 4 billion impressions around the world will help open doors for us. I know something about your journey because I have been pointing to letters since I was 6 years old. We have all come to spelling and typing at different ages. It's never too late to teach a non-speaker to type. And I believe every non-speaker with autism can learn to type. All 31 million children and adults worldwide. That is why I started Communication for All, and I would like to invite each and every one of you to become activists and join me today in that mission.
It just told me that people believe that all voices should be heard and that her mission to give the 31 million non-speakers around the world the communication that is just the basic human right and need that we all have to connect with each other. That has to be, I guess, my proudest moment, is just knowing that that speech meant so much to her and that the world heard her plea to help her brothers and sisters.
And I would like to leave you today, this special day of celebration, with the same quote that I shared just a few weeks ago with my fellow graduates at Rollins College. It is from Alan Turing, who broke the Nazi encryption code to help win World War II.
Sometimes, it is the people no one imagines anything of, who do the things no one can imagine.
Be those people. Be the light. Thank you. I'm just so happy that the mission has gotten such a boost from my commencement address going viral.
Well, Elizabeth and Jenny, thank you so much for being here. It's a fundamental need to be able to communicate, and you're trying to help millions of people so that they too can express themselves. I salute you.
Thank you very much, Senator Bradley. We really appreciate your amplifying Elizabeth's message for the world.
I've been speaking to poet-songwriter Elizabeth Bonker and her mother, Jenny Breen. To learn more about Elizabeth's music and about her organization, visit communication4all.org. Thank you for listening to American Voices here on my YouTube channel. For more interviews celebrating the goodness and creativity of the American people, click the subscribe button below.